Why? What have I done? Because we were caught up in the moment. I know, bro. It does, I'm not jealous.
Have you got anything to say?
I just want to say goodbye to Katie. That was me. She's done this before.
She's a good woman, man.
She is.
Hey, are you okay? I'm gonna get you a water, yeah? I'm gonna get over your hand. I'll hold your hair back. Are you guys alright? Like,
yeah, we just.
We
need to get in our snuggle nest cave. We'll be sweet.
Our nest cave. We promise to be nice to each other.
We will.
We are so nice.
We've been together a year and a half, and we just had an altercation.
I love him. I love him. He's so darling. He's my darling.
And I had a bad reaction.
He fucked some other girl.
Yeah, shush. Hey, I thought you were all fucking fornicating.
Is it like an open relationship?
No.
The lights were out.
But he fucked another girl because it was okay.
I thought we were fucking. And next
I wasn't fucking this guy.
And then I finished, and the lights were on, and they tried to kick him out of the toilet, and she's the one to.
Wait, is this tonight?
Yeah,
is this here?
And then like.
So who was fucking who?
He was fucking her.
In the toilets.
I didn't fucking.
And some other guy was trying to fuck her.
He would have. You
know.
Darcy, that's the one. Darcy, him.
Who's trying to?
He was trying to fuck me, but
the lights were out, and then I didn't lights out.
He would have if it was possible, but it was not appropriate. He was not.
He had his pants down. You just wouldn't let him.
He wasn't inappropriate. He was alright.
He fucking sucked his dick. How inappropriate is that?
Yeah, I sucked his dick, but you know, anyway.
I'm not pushing you over again.
Okay. Let's see you.
See ya, have a nice time. Franz Joseph taught me, and then Bella Vista taught me. Seize the fucking moment. I want to say to her, your boyfriend is a piece of shit. Open Heart Circuitry, that's what I'm talking about. Cut down the middle, rip the fucker out, and hand it to you on a fucking plate. Dunedin.
By the end, I was only dragging myself through these tours because although it had pretty much become a parody, it was the only chance I had to film myself and convince the world and my future self that I actually had some kind of life I was participating in. It was only on the last tour I finally realised that what I was doing wasn't interesting anymore. Driving around the South Island on a joke tour, mugging for the camera had been done to death. But instead the story that was interesting was the everyday lives of the locals who came to the gig. Franz Joseph was amazing, because this crazy gang of drunken hospo workers from every corner of the world in a tiny alpine tourist village of which its only reason to exist was slowly, literally melting away, had a far more interesting story to tell than me telling the story of a wayward bunch of starry-eyed electronic musicians on yet another hapless tour. There was the jolly Maori ringleader drinking his pay at the bar like he did every night, the embarrassingly scrawny young Tom who insisted on strutting around the bar shirtless, performing the haka, when in an excited moment of laddish roughhousing, the Maori guy thumped him in the chest, sending him flying across the bar, for which he would spend the rest of the night drunkenly apologising, yet the scrote would still not put his shirt back on. The nervous Vietnamese guy was full of angst, having made up his mind that tonight was the night he would finally make his move on the English girl, while the flashy and charming Indian guy whose every second word, due to his rough English, was actually spent the whole night actually buying rounds for everyone, despite them not actually finishing the last drink he had bought them actually. His older and chubbier Indian friend, also having finished his shift at the curry house, would later confide in me in mournful ponderings on the achings of losing a woman's love. There was so much truth in it. At the end of the night, once again, we were to discover no accommodation had been arranged for us, and the bar owner was indifferent to our obvious predicament that there simply would be no options for us. I had long since lost patience with the regularity of this and simply trailed the tour group as the Maori guy exhausted a number of desperately futile options, including waking up the Vietnamese English lovebirds until we returned to his run-down one-bedroom flat where he awoke his flatmate and they continued to drink the Darcy and blast awful EDM pop for hours on end. Miserable and tired, I leaned back on a corner of the couch trying to rest. When we returned some months later, he was still there. He didn't recognise us and belligerently insisted we play real music, by which I believe he was referring to Pitbull featuring Kesha's Timber. As the Dunedin gig began picking up, I was enjoying a surprisingly engaging conversation with Katie, a friend of Trombono. But my designs on her collapsed when she confided in me that she was trying to get her boyfriend to come out to the gig, but he was too shy. Given his sincerity, I graciously agreed to let him come in for free. But this guy turned out to be this big dumb asshole who was soon telling me that there were plenty of girls at the gig he would be interested in fucking, as he felt his girlfriend was a bitch for not being more responsive to the idea of a threesome in the past. As soon as the dance floor began to build, I saw him lurking about, taking his opportunities to approach the girls suggestively. Thinking instantly about Franz Joseph and my realization that the real stories to be told were in the audience, I told Erin, Darcy's assistant, to watch this guy. I had no idea how it would blow up. All I saw was his sleazy moves and his crass attitude. I didn't actually see the domestic or whether he actually laid a finger on her, but by the time the gig had ended, several women had been drawn into this huge dramatic conflict that ensued, then comforting her, she wailed on the couch. I didn't help, given how I'd felt I'd been suckered by the sleazy moron and his credulous girlfriend, and was now completely invested in this debacle for its prurient narrative value, the story that I am now telling. It was the only thing drawing me away from the clear futility and utter stupidity of this moronic situation. I barely thought either of the two idiots deserved any sympathy for their stupidity, and clearly deserved each other, but is it really a story worth telling? It had clearly left everyone left in the venue at that point slightly disturbed by the theatre of it, which for me, the only one who had seen it all unfold from the beginning, left me with seemingly insensitive fixations on these two morons suffering. The tragedy of these two flawed people only leaving me with a wonder of how I could tell the story, that we live in a world where people believe what they choose to believe. They want what they feel like they deserve from moment to moment, and you do yourself no favours by trying to convince them otherwise.